Hi everyone, Rinaba Shirazma here again. Such a relief finally after the lockdown. Like you can go anywhere you want to go for the restaurant, you can go anywhere outing, you can go for movies, you can go have fun with your friends. Such a beautiful life after lockdown. You're gonna have your life back, don't you think so? Well, if you're feeling that, I know you must be thinking like what happened to her, why she's talking like this. So today's topic is life after the lockdown. Like whatever happened until this point, thanks to the government, thanks to the frontline people, they have like really controlled the whole environment. Specifically this big population, it's not easy. They did it. I mean, up to this point we were like being nurtured, pretty much we were being nurtured by the mothers. And then, like, you know how little duckling, if they're trying to learn how to swim, then mother duck will never leave this kid alone. We'll let them train, we'll get them in in a shape that they can swim by themselves. So that's what it happened up to this point. Now we are on our own, we have to swim through this ocean of like COVID-19 thing. So we have to be very like proactive about that. One of the professor in Harvard, he said that India appears especially at the risk because of the high population. And there are two more things that he said about like increasing number of the migration, and there was a third one which he said that like you know how our healthcare system is very patchy healthcare system. Well, it's not about the healthcare provider at all. Like healthcare providers, we are doing our excellent job, all the healthcare providers, including like starting from the doctors, physicians, I mean like MDs, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, nurses, LPNs, CNAs, and all the other people like lab techs, x-ray techs, and whoever comes in this medical system, starting from the DON, ADON, DMS, everybody, they are doing their best and nothing complaining about that. The thing is that the contribution from the country to our, like the GDP contribution to our the healthcare system. So the average is about 8.8%, I believe. That should be the healthcare system contribution for the GDP. What is in India is 3.7%. I know, and our government is very well aware about that too, and that's why they started already taking some actions to, because we can't make these changes over the night. Like we can't change our population, we can't change the migration, which India already tried in a way that they, because of lockdown, we decreased the number of the migration and all those stuffs. But you can't change the healthcare system like day or two. Like you can't create the hospitals in a couple of the days and all that. So they still tried. Like some of the trains were converted into the hospital, like mobile hospitals. I heard about that, and some of the hotels were converted into the hospitals, which is very excellent and generous idea. So now what we have to do is like, because the lockdown is opened up, it's all on you, it's all on us now, how to maintain this cross contamination within the particular group, or within, like, just minimize that. That's what I mean. So up to this point it was all manageable, it was all under control, because we had less number of the people who were infected. It was, and we were monitoring, like the government was monitoring, healthcare providers were monitoring it, and it was being treated effectively too, because it was less number, more providers, less number of the patients. It was manageable. But now what's going to happen after, as the lockdown is opened up? Now what's going to happen is like the whole population is going to be like being open up for the COVID-19. So it's, I hope not, but it may create the same scenario as the USA, because at that time, like when you talk about that, like America, America did not have a official lockdown the way India had it. So by saying that, it's uncomparable right now. Like if you compare India's numbers with America, it's uncomparable, because the first death in America was on February 6th, while if you talk about India's first death was on March 12th. So India is already 5 weeks behind. Just thanks to the lockdown, the India is already 5 weeks behind. Now saying that, now the risk is increasing. Second number was the migration issue. That's what the professor in the Harvard said that. So why the migration issue? It's not about the migration issue between country to country, like that you're traveling from India to America or India to somewhere else. No, pretty much all the countries, they have shut their traveling and everything down. So I'm talking about the migration between the village to village, because like how every single village is not completely reliable on itself, so we have to rely on the other villages. So transfer from one village to other village, and then village to city, because some people are working in the from the villages, they are trying to get the opportunities in the cities areas, so they're going traveling from villages to cities. And some people are traveling from cities to cities. For example, like some people are traveling from Vadodara to Ahmedabad to Surat and all that. So there is a migration between cities to cities. There is a migration between state to state. Some business professionals, some people who has to go from, like, for example, from Bihar to Jharkhand to Bihar to like Gujarat and all that. So there is still happening, like, the migration between state to state. So after lockdown opens up, it's gonna happen more and more in the numbers. And the transporting system, public transportation, like, it doesn't matter where you go. If you go in the plane, if you go in a train, if you go in a bus, you can't keep the social distancing there. Yeah, it's not feasibly possible at all. So, and you can't cover everybody's mouth. Like, hey, when you sneeze, when you cough, when you talk, can you just cover your mouth? No, you can't, because it's different. You know what I mean. Like, you can't cover somebody's mouth. You can put the mask on your face, but you can't put the mask on everybody else's face. So it's hard to maintain the social distancing at that time. So just be mindful about that, because this is what you're gonna face. And as we know, like, high tolerance, by saying that, like, people, like in India, we always go through the common cold and fever and all that. So if you have, like, anybody, like, for example, you talk about, like, some people from, like, villages and all that, they are so, their tolerance is so high that if they have a fever, they're like, it's just a fever, we don't feel it, that's fine, it's gonna be all right, next day it will be fine. So when they having the symptoms, and when they ignore it or be just asymptomatic, they are still contagious, they are still a carrier of the COVID-19. So when they're a carrier, you're actually spreading the corona, and the people who are next to you, they don't even know, even the carrier don't know that they are the carriers, and that's how the COVID-19 has been spreaded. Now, talking about the third point, which was like a patchy healthcare system, as I said, like, the percentage of the GDP contribution is very different. Like, if you compare with America has 18% GDP contribution toward the healthcare system, compared to India, as I say, it was 3.7% or 3.6%. Now, one of the doctor who used to actually practice in India, who was one of the professor from it was New South Wales, I think. So he said that he was practicing on the TB, like how to control the TB and all that. So he said that when TB was being controlled, like when they were taking the control measurements and all that, the lungs, like he was taking the measurement of the lungs. So talking about the lungs, Indian lungs are already compromised for the TB and all that. So when your lungs are 100%, when your lungs are 100% healthy, then it's less risky. But your lungs are already compromised because of the tobacco use, because of the TB, because of the pollution. India has the pollution because of the population, like so many number of the people there. So you can't control the pollution at this point. You can't control the population at this point. But what you can do is like taking some other actions by saying that, like put the mask on and having the health hygiene, like keep your hands clean all the time. You go out or you go in, just keep your hands clean. The other things that you can do is like having like as I said, like maintain the social distancing and all. I had something else to discuss with you as well. Let me see. All right. See, other thing was like about the spirituality. Okay, as I told you, like, be spiritual. Definitely spirituality is gonna help you for sure. So now talking about spirituality, like if you go to the temple every day, if you go to the mosque every day, if you go to the church every day, I mean, think about it. Right now, none of the religion is saying that, like, if you believe in God, God is everywhere in every single corner of the world. So if you believe really in the God, then you don't need to go to the church, or you don't need to go to the temple, you don't need to go to mosque. You can stay home and then still pray. And just think about it, like when you got infected and when you already have corona, when you are almost like suffering from that, when you're dying from there, and when you ask God, like, hey God, why didn't you come to help me when I prayed for you? God is gonna answer you from there. Like, I told you not to, just be careful not to go out, not to be infected, just try to take some measurements. I came in different forms to let you know about that. You didn't listen to me at that time, and now you're complaining to me because I never told you to come to me in the temple and come and see me in the temple. We will have a meeting down there. You can see me in your home too. I'm in your heart. Just pray me in your heart. So think about it. Having the spirituality, if you're really a religious person, if you're really a spiritual person, then you must know that God is everywhere. Doesn't matter what religion you belong to, doesn't matter what religion you follow, God is everywhere. You don't need to go to that particular spot which is called temple, which is called mosque, which is called church. Just stay home and pray from home. God is still listening. It's in every single corner. And again, if you have any other questions or concerns, I'm always there. I'm sorry, I know today I was in a way that I was like direct point to point, so I'm sorry if somebody felt offended. I really apologize for that, but this is what I wanted to discuss with you guys. Thank you so much. Again, Rinaba Chudasma page, any questions, concerns, kindly post there. I'll try my best to come and answer those questions within 24 to 48 hours. And thank you so much for listening. Bye bye.